I think it depends on where you are in the phase. I think initially, with our proposal and the investment thesis, it was, I would say, asset play investors, clearly. But now over time, obviously with the dividend, and I think when we spoke early 2022, I think we were just about to pay out the first dividend, basically. Now, I mean, now within whatever 21 months, we have paid more than $730 million in dividends. So it is clearly, people have moved on. The asset players have moved on. We have quite a turnover in investors, but I think we now have quite a high number of investors who are happy, because I think the most critical path item is for us to be a reliable counterparty to investors as well, right? They need to know what to buy in, and I think that has been in shipping quite a challenge over the decades. That people sometimes say one thing and do the other thing. We have said, we will stick to the dividend. We will implement the dividend the moment it is right. And we have paid out, already now way more than we have raised in initial equity, right? So yes, obviously everyone enters at a certain price level, but I think at least, we have delivered, and we will continue to deliver that. So it's really about making sure you walk the talk, and bring that forward. And on the investor side, maybe one last comment is, we have grown also significantly the investor base. I mean, we are quite a famous retail stock in Norway, in terms of number of shareholders. We are way bigger than some of the other, I would say, more well-known Norwegian shipping names. I think it's because of the transparency, maybe also because containers is a slightly different animal. But we want to be fully transparent. Everyone can understand the dynamics and can make up their own mind, whether it's a good choice to stay on board or not. We believe, we have walked the talk. We will continue to pay dividends. We will continue to do what is right. And we hope that is convincing investors, obviously.
Definitely, because that was the second part of the question, the ER strategy. Because if you're a foreign company coming to a new country, it's quite remarkable to get, that popular in retail investing, etc. So if people come for you for advice, listing a new stock, and, have done their case study on how you did your investor relations strategy, what do you tell them? Are there any, big highlights from that journey?
Well, I think what is super important is to engage, and to be transparent. It's sometimes people just go somewhere, want to have the money, and then let us alone. I mean, of course, do I also sometimes have, let's say, investor meetings that are a bit more difficult, and of course, but I think it's about being even there in bad times. And we also had quite some volatility in our story, obviously. Being there, talking to people, explaining your thought process and how you approach things. And I think that makes relationships more sticky. And we have, and I think that's different. That's even different to, let's say, a lot of the other companies we are a Norwegian ASA, right? So I'm in Norway very frequently. We have an office there. We have people there. So I would argue we are even more Norwegian from a corporate standpoint than a lot of the Marshall Islands or Cayman Islands companies that are listed and that are Norwegian, right? So I think it's about also making the right choice on corporate setup and on commitment. We knew just to have a fly in, fly out kind of relationship with the market is not the way to go about it. And we have in fact invested quite a bit into that. And I think that is paying off, and people realize that we are there, we are approachable, we are transparent, and we are actually investing into the IR function and IR relationship on the ground in Oslo.
Would there at any point be a conversation about listing it in New York as well? Or how does that thought process look?
We looked at it on a few occasions. Actually, it's a constant topic to see are there benefits, right? What we have, however, seen, especially in the volatility of the market, that the Oslo market reacts very, very good. And yes, you might be able to tap some more investors because it's a bigger market. But I think the pricing in Oslo is good, and let's call it the shipping savvy investors in the US, they also know that they need to look at the Oslo market as well. So I don't think it's a big difference. It's probably a bit that, you know, the peer group, our peer group, for example, is listed in the US. I mean, we have 0 peers listed in Oslo, actually 0 peers listed in Europe. I mean, Hapag-Lloyd is the only relevant in Maersk, but they are different animals, right? Different, I mean, they are our customers and way larger and with a different business model. So the US is always an option, but I think for the time being, we're very happy where we are. And we also, in hindsight, don't see a significant different valuation metrics of our peers listed in the US versus us being listed in Oslo.